done yet? Are you done yet? Yeah? Okay, thanks, because, yeah, I'm just kind of speaking to some mates here. That was a bit noisy. Hello. So today, I'm going to talk about content, which seems to be a bit of a controversial subject in our game. So, we've seen the rise of content marketing, and we've also seen a bit of a backlash from, I guess, older school marketers, probably my era, against the use of the term content marketing. And I think part of this is because with digital, you've had so many people come into marketing specialisms that aren't actually trained in marketing, that quite often people are learning their specialities and discovering things that they think are new, which maybe have been around for a while. Maybe that's the case with content. Maybe it's not. Maybe content is actually something different. So for me, I've heard people say that content is just advertising, another word, and I fundamentally disagree with that. Yeah, if you think about it, content covers a whole load of things. I was having a chat with my best friend earlier, the only person that speaks to me, Perplexity AI, and it came up with, I think it was like 54 different types of content. And they covered everything from advertising to PR to kind of classic comms. You had sales-based content, you've got event management, you've got customer service, you've got broadcast. All of these things come under the guise of content. And I think a lot of these things probably could come under the guise of communication, but not all of them. So I think there's an element here where the platforms, the channels, the media that we're using has kind of changed the nature in which some of this is being created, and in some ways for the better, I'd argue. So we've seen a lot of research recently from System 1, kind of Andrew Tyndall has been talking about the kind of consistency being a driver. And I think we can all look back at brands, big and small, where there actually isn't a great deal of consistency. Lots of things are kind of created on their own, whether or not it's campaigns or things per channel. One of the things that content as a bucket term, which is all it is, let's be honest, has done is it's kind of allowed for people to immediately plan and think about the distribution across different channels. So for example, I'm sat here now, ostensibly in front of the bins, because you can't see the green screen, talking at you. This is content, of course it is. It's broadcast, of course it is. It's communications, of course it is. It's also going to be turned into something written, kind of an email, a newsletter, a blog piece. All these things are content. Are all those things communications? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. If I was to do a Bin Juice live event, other than the fact that nobody in their right mind would want to come, would that be content or would that be an event? Would it be communications? I think it would count as a content driver. You'd certainly consider it as part of content planning and event planning. Not necessarily communications in the same way. So, if you look at some of the other things out there, kind of you've got, as I said, kind of events, but you've got experiential, you've got interactive, you've got things like apps, you've got things like games. All of these are different types of content that I think genuinely fall outside of the traditional comms. And so, whilst I understand, and in many ways agree in other situations with this kind of reinventing of terminology of things that already existed, I'm going to say that content is a valuable term and it's a catch-all term. And I'm also going to say that as an industry, we are far too caught up in semantics. We spend so much time staring at our own belly buttons, picking the fluff out of the argument of what we should call something. Loyalty is a great example. Should it be called loyalty, or should it be called repeat purchase, or should it be called A, B, and C? It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. It's not going to change the job you're doing what it's called. And the same with content. It's not going to change the fundamentals of the job. Now, if you've got people that have come up from modern multimedia kind of background, calling it content, fine, it's content. If you want to call it communications and can find a way of jarring in the things there that clearly aren't communications, call it whatever you want to call it. Let's get on and do it, and let's do it well. Because really, we should be focusing on the outcomes. We should be focusing on, firstly, improving the levels of understanding in our industry. So, rather than poo-pooing on the youngsters who are coming up with these fantastic new phrases for things that we've been doing for 60 years, let's have a look at the fact that there's not enough education in marketing. And for that reason, we can't expect people to know these things because they're being told there's ways in that don't align with traditional education. I wasn't educated in marketing. I've learned along the way. I've learned classic marketing. I've learned a lot of the basis of it. And, even now I speak to senior people considered senior marketers who still aren't practicing some of those absolute fundamentals. So, let's take it a little bit easy and look at the outcome. There's some fantastic content marketers out there. They've got a better understanding of how people engage with content on different kinds of platforms. Are they an expert on every platform? No, not always, but they have an understanding of how to deliver. They have an understanding of how people respond in different scenarios. How many of us poo-pooing on this really get TikTok? By the way, there's going to be a little clipped version of this on TikTok because I'm down with the kids, me, yeah. So, but anyway, so if you disagree, if you think that content is made up bullshit, comment below. If you think that content is more than just communications, comment below. What I'd really dearly like to see is a big pylon, right, of both sides scrapping it out in my comments. So then I could kind of talk about how this content has created amplification. Wouldn't that be marvellous, eh? Anyway.